There's a moment in every person's life when the dream burns bright, when the idea of who they could be ignites like fire behind their eyes. It happens quietly, sometimes in the late hours of the night when the world is asleep, or in the chaos of the morning when something inside whispers, there's more to you than this. It's not a fantasy. It's a glimpse, a divine preview of what's possible. But between that glimpse and the glory stands one word, one test, one bridge: discipline. Discipline is not the spark that lights the fire, it's the oxygen that keeps it alive. Dreams are easy. Visions are free. But the price of bringing them into reality that's paid in discipline, daily, repeatedly, and without applause. You can want success. You can pray for it, journal it, visualize it, chant affirmations until your voice cracks, but if you don't develop the discipline to act when it's inconvenient, to push when it hurts, and to stay when everyone else quits, then your dream remains nothing more than a beautiful illusion. Jim Rohn once said, "Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment." But what he really meant was this: your dreams are not waiting for motivation, they're waiting for consistency. Motivation will give you a spark. Discipline will give you a fire that never dies. Think of Thomas Edison, hunched over in his lab after failing over 10,000 times to invent the light bulb. Most people would have stopped after 10. But Edison wasn't chasing comfort, he was building character. When asked how he endured the failures, he said, "I didn't fail. I found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's not clever optimism. That's disciplined faith in motion. Or consider Abraham Lincoln. Before he ever became president, he lost elections, faced financial ruin, and battled depression so dark it nearly took him. But each morning, he got up. Each day, he chose progress over pain. Each day, he took one step across that invisible bridge between who he was and who he was meant to become. The truth is, every successful person you've ever admired has walked across that same bridge. And not one of them was carried. See, discipline is the great equalizer. It doesn't care about your background, your talent, or your circumstances. It's the quiet promise you make to yourself every day, the promise that says, "I will not stop until I become what I'm capable of being." But here's the paradox: discipline often feels like suffering. It asks for sacrifice before it offers reward. It demands you get up when you'd rather stay down, work when you'd rather rest, and focus when distraction calls your name. That's why most people never cross the bridge. They stand at the edge of their dreams, staring at the distance, and they talk themselves out of walking. They say, "I'll start tomorrow." But tomorrow doesn't exist, it's just the disguise of comfort. You see, the bridge doesn't wait for perfect timing. It doesn't lower itself to make your journey easier. It's built one plank at a time through daily discipline habits, routines, small victories. Every act of discipline lays another plank beneath your feet, another step closer to your destiny. If you skip a day, you remove a plank. Skip enough, and the bridge collapses. But if you keep building, no matter how slowly, one day you'll look back and realize you're not dreaming anymore. You're walking in the reality you once imagined. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. Henry Ford went bankrupt twice before his automobile empire was born. These weren't men of luck. They were men of discipline. They didn't just have vision, they had execution. Because ideas alone are powerless. It's discipline that gives them muscle, form, and breath. And if you want to know what discipline really looks like, it's not glamorous. It's not social media highlights or motivational speeches. It's quiet mornings when no one's watching. It's saying no when your emotions scream yes. It's writing one more page, running one more mile, studying one more hour, even when the results are invisible. Discipline is doing what's required when you don't feel inspired. Because the truth is, feelings are fragile. But discipline is steel. And the world doesn't reward the dreamers, it rewards the disciplined. So, if you want to change your life, stop asking for a miracle and start building a routine. Stop chasing the feeling of motivation and start creating the structure that produces momentum. Because your success will never come from intensity, it will come from consistency. And the bridge that takes you there will not appear by chance. You build it one action, one choice, one disciplined moment at a time. Discipline begins as a behavior, but over time it becomes an identity. At first, you push yourself because you have to. Later, you move because it's simply who you are. The runner doesn't debate the morning jog, the writer doesn't bargain with the blank page. They show up because their discipline has become their nature. That's what separates the amateurs from the masters. The amateur works when it's easy. The master works until it's excellent. Jim Rohn used to say, we must all suffer one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. One shapes your destiny, the other shatters it. Let me ask you, how many dreams have died in the graveyard of good intentions? How many people said, someday I'll start, but someday never came? The truth is, the difference between one day and day one is the moment you choose discipline. See, the mind is like a garden. If you plant seeds of action, discipline waters them. If you neglect it, weeds of doubt, laziness, and distraction take over. Every morning you wake up, that garden waits for you, silent, patient, and neutral. It doesn't care what you plant, but it will return whatever you sow. That's why success is not accidental, it's agricultural. You plant, water, tend, and repeat. And eventually, harvest arrives. Most people want to harvest in the same season they plant. They want overnight results in a world designed for long-term growth, but discipline teaches patience. It teaches you to trust time, to respect the process, and to stay consistent even when the soil looks dry. Think about the bamboo tree. You water it for years without seeing a single sprout. Then suddenly, it shoots up 80 feet in just 6 weeks. Did it really grow in 6 weeks? No, it grew the whole time, underground, building roots strong enough to support its future height. That's what discipline does. It grows you in silence until your results become visible to the world. But here's the danger. In a world obsessed with instant gratification, discipline is becoming a lost art. We scroll, we swipe, we chase stimulation, mistaking motion for progress. But movement without direction is chaos. Discipline gives direction. It turns energy into focus. It says, don't chase everything. Master something. Look at Steve Jobs. He didn't build Apple by saying yes to every idea, he built it by saying no to 1,000 of them. That's discipline, the ability to subtract what doesn't serve your purpose. You can't build an empire with a scattered mind. You must learn to say no to comfort, to distraction, to short-term pleasure so you can say yes to long-term greatness. That's the paradox of discipline. It feels like restriction, but it's actually liberation. It frees you from the slavery of impulse. It frees you from regret. It frees you from the chaos of living by emotion instead of intention. When you master discipline, you stop being a prisoner of moods. You don't wait to feel ready. You act because you've decided. And the moment you decide, truly decide, life shifts. Because the world moves for the man or woman who moves first. Think of Michael Jordan. His teammates said he was the first to arrive at practice and the last to leave. When asked about talent, he said, everybody has talent, but ability takes work. That's discipline. Not because he loved practice every day, but because he respected the price of greatness. The truth is, discipline is not a punishment. It's a privilege. It's proof that you believe in your potential enough to protect it from mediocrity. Every time you wake up early, say no to distraction, or follow through on a promise to yourself, you are voting for your future self. And with enough votes, you become unstoppable. Because discipline builds self-respect. You cannot have confidence if you constantly break promises to yourself. But when you keep those small promises, when you say, I'll do this, and you actually do it, rewires your brain. You start to trust yourself. And that trust becomes power. That's when discipline transforms from burden to blessing. You no longer say, I have to. You start saying, I get to. You get to train. You get to build. You get to write, to learn, to grow. And that shift from obligation to ownership is where champions are born. So if you're listening right now, and you've been waiting for the perfect moment, stop waiting. The bridge is waiting for you to take the first step. The planks don't lay themselves. Every small act of discipline is one more step toward the life you've imagined. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be consistent. Because imperfect discipline will always outperform perfect procrastination. The greats were not the most gifted. They were the most consistent. They simply refused to stop. And that's the truth. Discipline is not about doing more, it's about doing what matters, even when you don't feel like it. Discipline doesn't just build habits, it builds identity. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you tell your subconscious, I am someone who follows through. That single sentence changes everything. Because the world doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are. And who you are is forged in the quiet moments when no one is watching. It's when the alarm rings at 5 a.m., and your bed whispers, stay. It's when the world says, relax, you've done enough, but something inside you says, not yet. It's when you stand face to face with your own weakness and say, you don't control me anymore. That's the invisible battle of success. The trophies, the recognition, the wealth, they come much later. The real reward is the person you become while no one's clapping. Jim Rohn once said, success is not something you pursue. Success is something you attract by the person you become. And who you become is directly tied to your discipline. See, discipline is more than routine, it's spiritual. It's the sacred agreement between your potential and your performance. It says, I will not waste the breath I've been given. I will not die with my music still inside me. Think about Thomas Edison. He failed over 1,000 times trying to invent the light bulb. When asked about it, he said, I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps. That's discipline. It's not blind repetition, it's relentless refinement. Each failure was a teacher. Each setback was a sculptor, carving the masterpiece of persistence. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's not social media highlights. It's unseen hours, long nights, and lonely roads. It's what happens when motivation dies and you still move. Because motivation will get you started, but discipline will keep you going when motivation leaves the room. That's why most people quit. They confuse excitement with commitment. Excitement is a spark. Discipline is the fire that keeps you warm when the storm hits. And storms will hit. Every dream you chase will test you. Every goal you set will demand proof of desire. The universe will whisper, are you sure? And discipline will be your answer. Remember this, the test is never about the dream, it's about your preparation to receive it. Henry Ford faced bankruptcy 5 times before building his empire. Walt Disney was fired for lacking imagination. Abraham Lincoln lost election after election before becoming president. What kept them going wasn't talent. It was discipline wrapped in belief. They had a vision larger than their pain. That's what discipline does. It gives you strength to stay when the world says leave. It gives you reason to rise when logic says rest. It turns pain into progress and effort into excellence. Because every repetition of discipline compounds. Every workout builds more than muscle, it builds mindset. Every journal entry builds more than reflection, it builds self-awareness. Every focused hour builds more than progress, it builds pride. And one day, without realizing it, you look back and see that the person you've become is unrecognizable from who you once were. That's the bridge working. But here's the truth, discipline doesn't just get you what you want. It changes what you want. You start craving progress instead of pleasure. You start chasing purpose instead of comfort. You start realizing that your happiness was never hiding in achievement, it was always waiting in alignment. Because discipline doesn't take freedom away, it gives it to you. When you're disciplined, you no longer live as a slave to your moods, your cravings, your impulses. You start to lead yourself. And the hardest person you'll ever learn to lead is you. That's the war every man and woman must fight, the war between who they are and who they could be. The weak version of you wants comfort. The strong version of you demands growth. The weak you wants distraction. The strong you wants destiny. Every choice is a vote for one of them. So ask yourself, who are you voting for? Daily, with every meal, every thought, every decision, every hour. Because discipline is not an act, it's a pattern. And your patterns decide your path. You can't cheat your habits. You can't fake consistency. Your life is simply a mirror reflecting your disciplines back at you. If you're unhappy with your reflection, change your routines. If you're unsatisfied with your results, upgrade your standards. Jim Rohn said, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. That's the essence of discipline. It doesn't ask life to shrink, it asks you to grow. You'll never control the winds, but you can always adjust the sails. That's discipline, the daily adjustment that turns storms into direction. And one day, when your dream becomes reality, you'll realize it wasn't luck, or fate, or talent. It was that quiet, consistent, unseen commitment, the one you made every day when no one noticed. That's the bridge. and only the disciplined ever cross it. There's a point in every journey when the excitement fades, when the applause stops, when the world gets quiet and you start questioning if it's even worth it anymore. That's the valley where dreams either die, or are reborn. And only one thing determines which side you end up on: discipline. Because discipline doesn't need applause. It doesn't need witnesses. It thrives in silence. It grows in the dark. You see, most people only work when they feel like it. They're loyal to their moods, not their mission. But the great ones, the ones who change history, they work when they don't feel like it. They understand that feelings are fickle, but habits are faithful. Muhammad Ali once said, "I hated every minute of training. But I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion." That's discipline, to endure the discomfort today so your future self can live in freedom tomorrow. The problem is, most people trade their long-term potential for short-term comfort. They want the reward without the routine, the praise without the process. They forget that every crown is built from hours of invisible struggle. Success doesn't come to those who wish, it comes to those who work. Because wishing is passive. Discipline is power. Look back at any great innovator: Jobs, Musk, Edison, Beethoven, Lincoln, Da Vinci. Their genius wasn't just talent, it was tireless focus. They sacrificed distraction for direction. They learned the sacred art of saying no. Discipline isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. It's choosing what you must over what you want. And in that choice, you gain mastery. Discipline doesn't suppress your freedom, it shapes it. Without it, life becomes chaos. With it, life becomes creation. A river without boundaries floods everything it touches. But channel that same water through discipline and it becomes power. It turns turbines, generates electricity, gives light to the world. That's what discipline does to your potential. It gives it form, focus, and force. The truth is, dreams are fragile. They don't die from failure, they die from neglect. When you stop showing up, your dreams start fading away quietly. But every time you show up, even imperfectly, even exhausted, even doubting yourself, your dream breathes again. That's the heartbeat of discipline. It's not about perfection, it's about persistence. It's not about doing everything right, it's about not giving up when it goes wrong. Jim Rohn used to say, "If you rest too long, the weeds take the garden." He wasn't talking about gardens, he was talking about life. If you stop nurturing your mind, negativity creeps in. If you stop nurturing your goals, distractions take over. If you stop nurturing your discipline, decay begins. That's why discipline must be renewed daily. You don't have discipline, you practice discipline. Like sharpening a sword, like watering a seed, like lighting a flame again and again. And here's the paradox: the more disciplined you become, the freer you feel. Because freedom isn't the absence of rules, it's the mastery of self. When you control your habits, you control your life. When you control your thoughts, you control your destiny. That's why Jim Rohn said, "We must all suffer one of two pains, the pain of discipline, or the pain of regret. The first weighs ounces, the second weighs tons. So choose your pain wisely. Because regret is a silent poison, it eats you slowly. It's the voice that whispers, you could have, you should have, you didn't. But discipline silences that voice. It replaces guilt with growth, fear with focus, hesitation with hunger. It's the most honest form of self-respect. When you're disciplined, you're saying to yourself, I'm worth the effort. You're saying, my vision deserves consistency. And that kind of belief creates momentum. Momentum, the invisible energy that builds when you stack days of discipline on top of each other. One workout, 1 hour of focus, one more call, one more page, one more step. Each small act may look insignificant alone, but compounded over time, they become unstoppable. The same hammer that breaks glass shapes steel. The same pressure that crushes some creates diamonds. The difference: discipline. Because discipline doesn't eliminate difficulty, it transforms it into fuel. It gives meaning to the struggle and turns pain into purpose. And when your pain has a purpose, you become unstoppable. That's why the greats don't run from the grind, they honor it. They know the grind is sacred. It's where the real transformation happens. It's where your body learns strength, your mind learns focus, and your soul learns patience. Every challenge becomes a classroom. Every failure becomes a mentor. Every delay becomes divine timing. Discipline teaches you to trust the process even when you don't see the progress. Because progress is rarely visible in the beginning. It hides under the surface, waiting for the right season to bloom. And when that moment comes, the world will call it overnight success. But you'll know, it was years of unseen discipline. There's something almost sacred about the process of becoming. Because you don't just build a dream, you build yourself in the process. And the truth is, your dream will only rise to the level of your discipline. You can have the biggest vision in the world, but if your habits are small, your vision will shrink to match them. That's why discipline matters. It's the foundation that allows your dreams to stand when the storms hit. Jim Rohn once said, "We must all be willing to pay the price for success. The question is, will you pay it once, or will you keep paying it every day?" That's the thing about discipline. It's not a down payment. It's rent. And rent is due every single day. The moment you stop paying it, the momentum starts slipping away. But when you stay consistent, when you honor your goals with daily actions, something shifts. You start to feel different. You start to think different. You start to move like someone who already owns the future they're chasing. That's the magic of alignment, when your thoughts, habits, and purpose move in the same direction. That's when discipline stops feeling like a chore, and starts feeling like destiny. Because discipline doesn't drain you, distraction does. When you're disciplined, your life gains rhythm. You wake up with intention, not confusion. You move with clarity, not chaos. And slowly, you start to experience something most people never do: peace in motion. That's the quiet confidence of a disciplined mind. It doesn't need validation. It doesn't need to announce progress. It simply builds, brick by brick, day by day, while the world watches in silence, until one day, the structure stands so tall that everyone sees what faith and focus created. But let's be honest, there will be days when discipline hurts. When the gap between where you are and where you want to be feels infinite. When progress is invisible, and the temptation to quit whispers louder than your will to stay. Those are the moments that separate the dreamers from the doers. Because anyone can work hard when it's easy. Anyone can stay consistent when the results are visible. But real discipline is forged in the unseen, when nothing seems to work, when no one believes, when the road feels endless. That's where your character is born. That's where your future self is sculpted. Look at the story of Abraham Lincoln. He faced defeat after defeat, business failures, depression, public humiliation, and yet, he kept showing up. He didn't let failure define him, he let it refine him. That's the power of daily discipline. It turns pain into polish. Or think about Beethoven composing symphonies he could no longer hear. The man was deaf, but his discipline allowed him to feel what others could only listen to. That's the depth of conviction discipline creates. It connects you to something higher than circumstance. Because when you're disciplined, you stop being controlled by conditions, you start creating them. The weather doesn't decide your work. The market doesn't dictate your value. The opinions of others no longer shape your purpose. You become your own cause. And that's when your world changes, not because the world changed, but because you did. See, discipline is a form of faith. It's believing that what you do today will create something meaningful tomorrow. It's showing up before the evidence appears. Faith says, "I will see it when I believe it." Discipline says, "I'll keep working until I make it real." That's the alchemy of greatness, belief mixed with action. Every time you wake up early, every time you choose growth over comfort, every time you do the thing you don't feel like doing, you're casting votes for the person you're becoming. You're building trust with yourself. And that trust compounds into unshakable confidence. That's why disciplined people move differently, not because life is easier for them, but because they've learned to be consistent regardless of difficulty. When you develop that kind of consistency, life bends to your will. Doors open. Opportunities find you. People begin to trust your word because your actions already proved it. Discipline turns ordinary people into examples. It takes the unsure and makes them certain. It turns the doubtful into doers. That's why the most powerful line Jim Rohn ever said still echoes through time: discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. It's not the dream. It's not the desire. It's not even the plan. It's the discipline that turns all three into reality. So, if you're tired of wishing, start working. If you're waiting for the right time, this is it. If you're looking for a sign, you just heard it. Because your future isn't waiting for luck. It's waiting for your discipline. And when you give it not for a day, not for a week, but relentlessly, faithfully. With everything inside you, life starts to reward you in ways you can't predict. You'll begin to attract opportunities you never saw coming. You'll meet people who mirror your hunger. You'll feel peace in the grind, pride in the pressure, and gratitude in the growth. That's what discipline gives you, not just success, but significance. The quiet knowing that you live true to your potential. Here's the truth most people never understand. You don't attract success by chasing it. You attract success by becoming the kind of person who deserves it. That's why Jim Rohn said, success is not to be pursued, it is to be attracted by the person you become. And what shapes that person more than anything else is discipline. Discipline is how you honor your future before it exists. It's how you cast votes every day for the life you say you want. Because words mean nothing if your habits tell a different story. You can read every book, listen to every podcast, visualize every goal, but if your actions don't reflect your beliefs, your dreams remain just that, dreams. Discipline is the proof that you believe. When you show up early, when you choose growth over excuses, when you give your best in silence, you're telling the universe, I am ready for more. And life listens to that kind of conviction. It always does. Think of Thomas Edison. He didn't invent the light bulb on his first try. He failed 10,000 times. But what people call failure, Edison called education. That's discipline. The ability to see the process as progress. To fall in love with the repetition that creates mastery. Most people stop when they're tired. The disciplines stop only when they're done. And that's why life rewards them. Because life is a mirror, it reflects what you consistently give it. If you give it excuses, it gives you limitations. If you give it focus, it gives you direction. If you give it discipline, it gives you power. Every successful person you admire, every empire builder, every innovator, every world changer, they all had one thing in common: they kept showing up. Steve Jobs wasn't just creative, he was relentless. Walt Disney wasn't just imaginative, he was disciplined enough to turn imagination into an empire. And Henry Ford, he didn't just dream of revolutionizing transportation, he worked every single day until the dream became a factory, and the factory became history. That's what discipline does, it gives your dream structure. It turns the invisible into something you can touch. But you see, most people never get there, not because they don't have talent, but because they don't have consistency. They underestimate how long greatness takes. They want to harvest without planting. They want results without roots. But here's the secret: the longer it takes, the deeper the roots grow. And when your roots are deep, the storm doesn't matter. That's why disciplined people are calm in chaos, because they're grounded in habits, not hype. They know the process always works if you keep working the process. Discipline is not punishment, it's preparation. It's life training you for the moment you've been praying for. When you're disciplined, every early morning, every late night, every sacrifice, it's not loss, it's investment. It's the universe quietly compounding your effort until one day it all breaks open. You'll have that breakthrough moment, the promotion, the recognition, the success, and people will call it luck. But you'll know better. You'll know it wasn't luck, it was daily discipline. The kind that nobody saw. The kind that built your belief. That's the hidden law of success. Discipline builds momentum, and momentum builds miracles. You can't stop a person who refuses to quit. You can't defeat someone who wakes up every day with purpose. You can't slow down someone who has made consistency their identity. That's the transformation Jim Rohn was talking about. Success is not about money or fame, it's about becoming a person of discipline, character, and vision. Because if you become that person, wealth follows, opportunities follow, peace follows, fulfillment follows. Everything you've been chasing will start chasing you, not because of luck, but because you became magnetic through discipline. And here's the beautiful paradox. Discipline starts as something you do, but it ends as something you are. At first, it's uncomfortable. You resist it, you argue with it, you convince yourself you deserve a break, or that it's okay to skip just one day. But the more you practice it, the more it becomes your nature. You stop fighting discipline and start feeling lost without it. That's when everything changes. You don't need external motivation anymore. You don't need someone to push you. You've become your own standard. And that's freedom, not the kind of freedom that comes from doing whatever you want, but the kind that comes from being in control of yourself. Discipline is freedom. Because it gives you authority over your mind, your time, your destiny. When you master yourself, you stop being ruled by emotion. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop living on default and start living by design. That's when life feels different. You wake up with purpose. You move with peace. You rest with gratitude. Because you know no matter how far you've come, no matter what still lies ahead, you are on the path. You're building your bridge, step by step, through the most powerful force on earth, discipline. One day, you'll look back and realize the long nights, the silence, the rejections, the sacrifices. They weren't punishment. They were preparation. They were shaping you into someone who could hold the blessings you once only dreamed about. Because dreams are fragile things. They can't survive in weak hands. They need strength, the kind of strength that only discipline builds. You see, success isn't about getting lucky once. It's about staying ready forever. That's what discipline does. It keeps you ready. While others get comfortable, you keep growing. While others slow down, you keep building. While others celebrate too early, you're already planning the next move. Because disciplined people don't chase trophies. They chase growth. And the beautiful irony, growth always brings the trophies. Every step you take in discipline is a statement, a declaration to the world that says, I will not wait for the perfect moment. I will create it. Every time you show up when it's hard, you're telling life, you can test me, but you can't break me. And life respects that kind of soul. That's the secret of every leader, every legend, every visionary. They all lived by one law: discipline first, reward later. Abraham Lincoln lost elections, failed in business, faced heartbreak, but he stayed disciplined in character, in vision, in purpose. Thomas Edison burned through failures, but his discipline turned darkness into light. Howard Schultz grew up poor, but his discipline built Starbucks from an idea into a global symbol. Oprah Winfrey didn't rise because of chance, she rose because of consistency. Their lives scream one truth: discipline turns ordinary people into extraordinary forces. And someday that could be you. But it starts small. It starts with the alarm clock you refuse to snooze. The workout you do when you don't feel like it. The page you write. The call you make. The goal you revisit even when progress feels invisible. Those are not small moments, those are sacred battles. That's where the war for your destiny is won. Because discipline is spiritual. It's not just about doing, it's about becoming. It's the soul's way of saying, I refuse to waste this life. It's your spirit declaring war on comfort. It's the silent power of self-respect, the kind that doesn't need applause. And that's why the greats move differently. They live with intention. They guard their time like treasure. They treat every day as a divine opportunity because they understand that each sunrise is a contract renewal between them and their destiny. They don't wait for the world to believe in them, they believe first. They don't hope for better days, they create them. They don't dream of bridges, they build them. Brick by brick. Habit by habit, choice by choice, and eventually, that bridge becomes real. You walk across it one day from the person you were, to the person you always wanted to be. That moment, when your results finally match your potential, that's the moment you realize it was all worth it, not because of what you achieved but because of who you became. That's the true reward of discipline. It's not the car, not the house, not the applause. It's the evolution of self. Discipline makes you trustworthy with greatness. It makes you humble in victory, grateful in success, and resilient in defeat. It gives you power without arrogance, progress without pride, and purpose without pressure. Because once you've built yourself from the ground up, no loss can destroy you, it can only refine you. And that's where the magic happens. You stop fearing failure. You stop chasing validation. You stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 10. Because you finally understand, your discipline is your destiny. You become unstoppable not because everything works, but because nothing breaks your rhythm. You know the truth now, discipline is the bridge. It connects your dreams to your reality. It connects your present self to your future greatness. It connects your desires to your destiny. And every time you take another disciplined step, you walk closer not just to success, but to your becoming. So when people ask, what's the secret, how did you do it? You won't say luck. You won't say talent. You'll simply say, I kept showing up. Because at the end of the day, that's what greatness really is. Discipline in motion. And if you stay consistent long enough, strong enough, honest enough, one day you'll stand on that bridge you built, and smile. Because you'll realize, you didn't just cross from dream to reality. You became the bridge. And that's when you'll know, you didn't just live a successful life. You lived a disciplined one. And that is the foundation of everything worth becoming.